surprisingly refreshing. Hi! Hello! If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome. What's going on? I hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to another anime review. I've been feeling it lately. The warm fuzzies, if you will. Except, no one's making me feel that way. I'm just actively searching for stories that make me feel like I have some semblance of a romantic life. And apparently, I am not the only one. There is a saying that's going around in Japanese culture quite a bit these days. It's used to describe that cheesy, loved-up feeling that you get when you first start to fall in love with someone. And it's called squee. Like, oh, that's so cute, it makes me want to go squee. I didn't get it at the start. So I scoured the internet far and wide in search of a series that had that magical squee factor. And after 3 weeks of binge watching romance anime, I present to you Let Me Sell You Some Anime Romance Edition. The first title of today is Orien Monogatari, aka My Love Story. This was released in 2014 and revolves around the main character Goda Takeo and his best friend Suna. Takeo isn't your typically conventionally attractive high school boy by Japanese standards. In fact, he's this really large, gruff and buff sort of character, and Suna is definitely the pretty boy of the two. One day, Takeo and Suna spot a girl getting groped on public transport, and Takeo swoops in and saves her by virtue of his muscles alone. He ends up falling in love with this girl, Pringle. They start seeing each other pretty early on in the series. On a side note, I found this really refreshing because unlike other romance series, the couple actually gets together pretty early on rather than dragging out and leaving other aspects of the character dynamics unexplored. After getting together with Pringle, Takeo also makes it a point to say that he loves her in every episode, which is a really sweet meta theme that I appreciated. The couple and Suna find themselves in various situations, some comical and some a little bit more dramatic. The anime doesn't get too emotionally heavy, playing to that lightheartedness you might find in most romances in their honeymoon phase. The anime was also really well received, and there was even a large enough fan base to warrant a live-action film to be made and released shortly after in 2016. The series did a great job of capturing the innocence of falling in love in your teens, and really what that would be like in an ideal world where you had the support of your family and your friends. While not the most realistic of romances out there, this one might make you go squee. On the topic of realistic romances, Nana was actually the first romance anime that I had ever watched. This series was released in 2006 based off the award-winning manga by Aya Yazawa and ran alongside the release of the comics. The story is centered on two girls, both sharing the same name, Nana. Both of them meet by chance on a train ride, eventually end up sharing a home together in Tokyo. While they are from completely different family backgrounds, the two girls bond and confront various traumas together in this very touching coming-of-age story. The plot is also heavily centered around music, as one of the girls is a vocalist from a punk band. And the story progresses as we get familiar with the other members of her band called the Black Stones, and also members of their rival band, Trap Nest. Without giving too much away, Komatsu and Osaki Nana get entangled in various romances, and we start to see how their escapades begin to take more serious turns, having much more upsetting and real consequences. Something really unique about this series is how the backstories of the side characters are explored really thoughtfully too. Every member of the cast has a deeply emotional and relatable story that makes them hard to hate. This also makes the plot a lot more visceral as we start to see the ugly side of the characters, coming in through themes like jealousy, possessiveness, and also a lot of selfishness. Unfortunately, the series ended up being unfinished, and the manga set on indefinite hiatus as the mangaka had come down with a host of health issues. Much to the dismay of thousands of fans, including myself, this series unfortunately does not have a clear resolution. Nonetheless, it is an absolutely amazing piece of work that I would highly recommend. Will it make you go squee though? It'll probably make you go, but it hurts so good, and I definitely recommend you giving it a shot. I would like to say that the next title is a little bit more light-hearted, but alas, I disappointed yet again. Scum's Wish, also referred to as Kuzu no Honkai, is set in a high school with a male and female lead in an arrangement of sorts. You see, they're not in love with each other. In fact, they both have their own respective love interests. But their affections are not reciprocated, and Hanabi and Muki have both consented to using each other to act out their desires. Yeah. this series will take you to a pretty dark place pretty quickly. You get to see innocent affection fester and become this very disturbing combination of obsession and manipulation, and even characters objectifying each other. Hanabi and Mugi dive straight into a game of charades where they pretend to be each other's love interests, even going so far as to call each other the names of their love interests. There are even scenes where they close their eyes and flat out imagine that the person they're with is the one that they truly have feelings for while they get hot and heavy. The series also goes on to explore the psychological history behind the other characters, shedding much more light on the personality complexes that manifest themselves into the romantic tropes that we know today, like the female that constantly seeks the validation of the men around her, or the men that are unable to commit themselves to a relationship. This is pretty heavy for 13 episodes, and even though the ending left me a little bit confused, I must say that the choices in writing are really daring and worth commending in the sea of cutesy, whimsical shoujo anime. And of all the ones today, this definitely does not play it safe. Needless to say, Kuzu no Honkai did not make me go squee. It was more of a This next one is a feel-good one, I promise. Horimiya is named after its two lead characters, the female Hori-san and the male Miyamura-kun. This anime was aired at the start of 2021 and was immediately well received by audiences worldwide. The funny thing about this series is that there isn't anything too special about this plot. The shy, nerdy guy in school ends up being a complete badass outside of the classroom, and the relationship between him and the amazingly hardworking and family-oriented female lead blossoms into a high school fairy tale romance that many of us may or may not have dreamed of having. This is a super wholesome story without the dramas and the toxicity we may find in some of the other titles mentioned. But the way this story is told and the attention that's paid to the little details, now that's a whole other matter. The anime balances comedy and sincerity skillfully, making old tropes that we have seen time and time again surprisingly refreshing. There are also other character arcs explored in this series, each offering their own value to the plot without detracting too much from the main couple. To level with you, I actually didn't understand the squee factor until I watched this anime. You do not understand, okay? This show had me going squee every episode. The way simple scenes between Hori and Miyamura were crafted depicted the innocent tension and the butterflies that come with puppy love so incredibly accurately. From the way Miyamura gently touches Hori's hand when they are finally alone in her living room, to the way Hori would encourage him to be more assertive in their relationship. This series has massively succeeded in capturing the essence of the manga and presenting this classic love story through the medium of animation with elements that are truly unique and undeniable. This is definitely one you have to experience for yourself. And at the price of just 13 episodes, why not? And that wraps up my grand quest. As always, thank you so much for choosing to share your time with me. Have a good one wherever you are, and I will see you guys in the next one.